That's fine. I don't do much. You know,
Hey, you was balling your ass
I just
off,
do what
bro.
I have to do, but I don't do
Right.
much. You know what I'm
You
saying?
was-
So no problem. What's good? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show with my brother, the legend, BD. What's happening, my dog?
What's up, my bro? How you feeling, man? Big win. How you feeling?
Man, big time. Shit, man, that was a big win. You know, come back home and maintain home court without Jimmy. Incredible. That's how you hold it down. I love the way we showed up.
Yeah, y'all showed up. The defense really showed up. It was a big win, especially without Jimmy. Steph went crazy. That was probably one of the best Steph Curry packages that I've seen, from not just killing you with the three, but from a lead guard perspective, a playmaker perspective, controlling the game, tempo. He put all that together.
I think he did, and he wasn't turning the ball over. That was me turning the ball
Right.
over. But he wasn't he wasn't turning the ball over. He made every single play. When we had nothing going offensively, he just willed us. Because I think the defense was there. Like at one point, I think it was maybe 6 minutes to go in the half, 5 minutes to go in the half, and they had 37 points. Now we had 24, 26 or something like that, but we knew we couldn't hit any shots. And so Steve said in that timeout, he's like, yo, our defense is holding up. Just make sure the defense keep holding up. We will find a rhythm offensively. And we couldn't. But Chef got going, and he just willed us there to end that second half, that's second quarter. And we went in the halftime of down three. We like, oh, we good. Like, because they weren't scoring the ball. And we didn't play well, and we're down three. And so he dominated the game. Like, he completely controlled everything, even with the blitz. You know, the blitz is made to speed you up. Like, he was in total control.
Pass the ball, yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
He was in total control. He got whatever it was that he wanted. If he wanted to make the pass in the blitz, he made the pass. If he wanted to beat the trap, he beat the trap. Like, he got whatever it was that he wanted when he wanted to. It was beautiful to see, like you said, especially with Robin. As he calls himself, with Robin out, it was beautiful to see, man. Just complete domination.
Speaking of Robin, Jimmy Butler IG post, thanks Batman and team, excluding Buddy. I would have to agree with that. You know, I'll be picking on Buddy too. Damn, Buddy. Wake your ass up.
Well, tonight Buddy showed up in a major way. Buddy hit big shots, 5 for 11 from three. He sat down on the defensive end.
He did.
Like, Buddy played great basketball tonight, and Buddy got into it with Jalen Green at the end.
Yeah, what was that about?
You know, you just calling Buddy out his name and stuff. You know, I don't really rock with that. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know, we move on to the next game. The game was over. We won the game. We move on to the next game, man. You know how we rock it.
Yeah, I saw Jimmy on the bench being vocal, talking to Kuminga, talking to Buddy, talk about his presence out there, even on the bench with those guys in that playoff environment, and what it means having him still as a presence over there on the bench for yourself and then for the Kumingas and the Buddies.
It was huge because Jimmy just see the game differently. You know, and although, like, hey, when you're on a bench with a coach or your coaching staff, the last thing you want is them coaching you up every play. Like, you just kind of, but when you got a teammate right there and they're coaching you up, it's a totally different vibe. And so it was just another coach on the bench that is kind of talking every single play. You know what I'm saying? And he was locked into the game. He was, you know, dropping jewels over there, things that he saw. Man, it was great. Obviously, we want him out there on the floor, but, you know, that wasn't possible today. So you take what he was bringing on the bench, you bottle that up however you can. He walked in looking like Frank Lucas with the mink coat on to start the game, so you knew he was coming. He was coming to the bench bring a presence. And he was definitely that presence on the bench. Shout out to my guy, Frank.
Shout out to Frank Lucas.
He had the aloe chinchilla on, the aloe patch right there. It was fire. You know what I'm saying? When Frank walk in looking like that, got to get it done. He got hot, though. So you know the aloe coat was hitting right. How did he came out fast?
My boy walked out there with a comforter on. They got hot quick.
He had the aloe chinchilla on. It was like, all right, now I looked back up. That moment was gone. I said, he made it stay. Oh, man. Remember to subscribe to the Draymond Green Show with Baron Davis so you don't miss any episodes.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media at Draymond Show. All right, Dub Nation, y'all know what's up. You and Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Y'all was getting into it. And then Jalen Green said, just talking. He can't really do much of anything. So talking is his only way. Jalen Green on Draymond Green.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I don't do much. That's fine. I don't do much.
You was balling your ass
I just
off,
do what
bro.
I have to do, but I don't do much. You know what I'm saying? So
you was balling though.
No problem. I'm happy he see it that way. That's incredible. Shout out to him.
A lot of times those are like blanket statements.
Facts.
Because you can start believing that, and then I ain't gonna say nothing.
You know
That's how you get your ass kicked. Yeah, that's how you get your ass kicked. There's a fine line between respect and disrespect. You got to be careful because it could translate on the court as, oh, I don't feel like closing out, or I ain't going to try and box out, or oh, I'm just going to let him drive to the hole. So, be careful. That's what I would say to the young fella, especially in the playoffs, because it's just a different level. It's a different level of talk, and it's a different level of talking and backing it up when it comes to the playoffs. And we've seen that countless amount of times with really talented players going to the media and almost giving that energy out to themselves. You've seen it with PG, you've seen it with T-Mac. You got to be careful, especially when you're in battle and go be in a series where you got to battle it out.
It's all good.
Let's talk about this tech, okay? First, I thought we was going to be more aware of our technical files.
Well, I was very aware of that one. Can't you tell?
I know.
I was very aware.
I'm like, hey, bro, you wanted that tech, didn't you?
I had to get that one. That was the third or fourth time somebody walking to me while I'm going up for a layup and it's not called. I had to get that one. Because clearly you ain't called it yet. You clearly ain't feeling my presence. So I'm going to make sure you feel my presence now. I definitely wanted that one. And then I move on.
It was a game changer. Yeah,
that was like, I felt like that one was needed in that moment. And I went and I got it, and then we move on. And it also turned me up. So it was great.
It did.
It was great. It turned me up. Like I knew I needed that in that moment, and I did that, and it was incredible. And yeah, that one wasn't unnecessary. That one was very necessary.
Yeah, you ran him down on that one. I was like, okay, Dre want that tech. But it did spark a fire in the defense. Your defense in the fourth quarter, you had some really big defensive plays, a block, bunch of stops, deflection, a steal on Van Fleek. I mean, your instincts was bubbling. You was covering, right? You was covering. You was an architect on that defense. What were you seeing out there?
I think when that's now our third time playing them. Like once you start to get to game 3 and 4 in the series, like there's not much that's going to happen that's going to be a surprise. Like you start to figure out what they like to get to, what they like to go to when stuff ain't going well. Like you just start to figure different things out. And so for me, like after seeing the team the third time in a row, like you got to trust your instincts because more likely than not, your instinct is going to be right if you watch film, if you study your stuff. And so I trusted my instincts a lot, but I also know we needed stops and we needed that win. And I knew that I needed to come up big on the defensive end. I couldn't quite find my rhythm offensively. So what are you going to do to impact the game? And for me, that was like, all right, I'm about to go down here. I'm going to try to get every stop. I'm going to try to get my hand in every play in one way or another. And, I was able to cause some havoc. That last play was probably the most fun with getting the outlet to GP off the turnover.
Yeah, for the dunk.
But that was, that's just what it boils down to. I saw that he had soft Jalen Green open. So I saw it. I was the last line of defense. You see, I just ran away from the rim because I saw that he saw him open and he turned his back. So I knew he thought he'd still be open. I took off out of there, was able to come up with the ball and get it out to GP, and that put the finishing touches on the game.
To me, it was a testament of why I thought you should have been Defensive Player of the Year, but you finished third. So congratulations on that. But what is the process like when it comes to hearing you won or where you placed? And what was your reaction when you found out that you didn't win?
Interestingly enough, we all find out at the same time. You find out when it releases on TNT. I was gambling on the plane and I went on it. I moved on. Ain't much you can do about it. This ain't my first rodeo. This ain't my first time being in the race. Feeling like I should win and not winning. It ain't the first time that's ever happened. So this ain't. I'm sure Dyson Daniels was crushed because I know that feeling. Yeah, like your first time being in the running and you don't come up with it. Like I know that feeling. So I've experienced it before. If anything, I feel for Dyson Daniels, you know what I'm saying? Because he had a great defensive year. And this is his first time going through that. This is his first time experiencing that feeling of, damn, I didn't get it. I was like, I'm fine. Like, I'm moving on.
Moving on.
Like, I've been through that before. So, no big deal to me, but I will say congratulations to Evan Mobley, man.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Big shout out to Evan Mobley.
Incredible. I've been a fan of his since USC. I know you don't like that name, but I've been a fan of his since USC. You know what I'm saying? And to see him continue to grow, continue to become the player that everybody thought that he'd become. I had so many conversations with Kenny last summer just about what Evan Mobley can become and how to see things. Like, I'm happy as hell to see him get that. So shout out to him, man. Darius Garland them and shit was throwing shade. Like, there ain't none of that. And don't be a clown. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. We was in the running. He won it. That's great. And the number one seed with the second best record in the NBA, who mad at that? So why these little dudes throwing shade? Congratulations to him. I was surprised by Darius Garland throwing shade when he came on the podcast, and it was us vouching for him to be an all-star when he was begging. So like I said, shout out to Evan Mobley. That was super dope to see him win Defensive Player of the Year. I'm one of the guys. I root for young guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them guys that don't want to see young guys do well. If anything, welcome to the table.
One, shout out to Evan Mobley. I think he had an amazing year. He was key, clutch. He has been on the rise ever since he stepped in the league and been reaching his potential. So shout out to him for winning Defensive Player of the Year. I always look at awards like that and say, okay, whoever didn't win, that doesn't mean you did not win. That means you won too, because you're up there as one of the best defenders in the league.
Absolutely.
Win the award, you move on. And I actually think it motivated you, man, because you was playing some hell of a defense out here in Game 3. You had something to prove. And if that's the case, I take that all day.
No, for sure. Listen, you're always going to try to find fuel in whatever you can. I will say I didn't find a bunch of. I want to lock guys down anyway. That's who I am. I take pride in that. But you find fuel however you can. So like I said, it was obviously wanted to win it, but to be in the conversation at 35, still it's playing incredible. At an elite level, will continue to play at an elite level. I got no shame in it. I'll show up next year, throw my name back in the hat, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I got to do on the defensive end. So be right there again.
Big facts.
Be right there again.
The NBA 82-game grind is done. Now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs. Love them. They're here. Time for drama, clutch moments, Steph Curry, LeBron, jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Playing games all the way to the finals. Now's the time to back your favorite players and teams as they chase glory. So all season long, DraftKings has been the go-to spot for NBA player props. That doesn't stop now. If you want to make your playoff experience even more intense, try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30, 40, who knows, or more? It's your call. If you're ready to place your first bet, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. Lock in your bets, and let's make the playoffs unforgettable. Here's something special for first-timers. DraftKings customers that are new, bet $5. That's it, $5. And get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Just make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download their Sportsbook app. Takes 90 seconds. The code's Colin, C-O-L-I-N. That is code Colin. New customers get $200 in bonus bets. Betting just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Talking about elite, having Jimmy out, other players stepping up, the guard play in this game was huge. Gary Payton II had 11 of his 16 points in the fourth quarter. Talk about his impact.
Man, I thought GP was huge. He's one of the best finishers around the rim in the game, for real. He doesn't play the guard position for us. And, me and Loon always joke with him like, gee, you a small ball five. He got every finish around the rim that every big wish they had,
Right.
He is extremely impressive. He was getting those dives to the rim, couple tough finishes, and then all of a sudden the tray ball going in.
Yeah.
And we obviously know what he does on the defensive end, So when you're getting that type of production from G on the offensive end, already knowing what he's doing on the defensive end, like you said, with Robin out, it was great because you needed that production from somewhere. And it wasn't going to be one guy that gives you the production that Jimmy gives you. But as a collective, we can all do that and make up what he brings, as a collective group. And that's how it got to be when you're missing one of your stars. And G played some great basketball. He showed up, especially, with the shoulder bothering him, from the no call when he was tripped in Houston. Showed up in a major way. Shout out to GP.
Yeah, talking about being a superstar in your role, he embodied that tonight. The physicality, hitting the three ball, finishing inside. Like you said, it steals the defense. It amazes me someone that small can play, on the defensive end, can play the one and switch to five and try and block the shot. I mean, his energy is incredible, and it's just good to see my little dog out there getting busy. Another one of my dogs, Buddy, he showed up for us today, 17 points. I know he has a good relationship with Jimmy, obviously, with the tweet. What did you say to Buddy post-game about his performance game 3? Because Buddy is a funny personality, man. That's my guy.
Buddy's hilarious, man. I was just talking to him really throughout the game. Buddy used to be like, you go say something to Buddy, like he talks so fast. And as soon as you say, and now he's coming up to me like, Dre, I should have got you the ball when Steven Adams was able to get the steal. I need to. And I'm like, wow, buddy, like that is a huge step in the right direction. Like you're coming to seek me out to talk about this play. Like, so what Jimmy's doing must be working. Because but Buddy, honestly, man, he was huge. He hit big shots, timely threes. He hit some very timely threes. And he was good on the defensive end. It was good to see Buddy have that game. Like I said, need a collective of guys stepping up. And Buddy was right there in the mix for us. We're going to need him to continue to play that way. Also, shout out to Steve, because I know people was calling for Steve like, why are you still playing Buddy? And Steve said, I'm going to continue to play Buddy. You saw
and
why.
He showed
just
up.
With his shot-making ability. We need that shot-making ability out there on the floor. And a locked-in Buddy is a very good Buddy. So we're going to need Buddy to continue to stay locked in like that. Shots won't fall every single night, but when you're a great shooter like he is, they fall most nights.
Yeah, he'll get open. He was playing on the defensive end. He was playing scrappy. he will get his shots as long as he don't chase them. He going to get open and have opportunities to make shots. And he was big. He was huge.
I also wanted to speak about Jonathan Kuminga. His defense starting off on Jalen Green was huge.
Big time.
Hawking him
big
to start
time.
the game. And when you don't allow a guy to get a rhythm to start the game, that can change the game for offensive players. So I also wanted to speak on that. Jonathan Kuminga's defensive pressure on the ball to start the game was humongous.
Huge, especially Jalen Green coming off that Game 2 performance where he was just having his way. To establish that at the beginning of the game is saying, you, buddy, are going to get the attention that you deserve. You know, I've been waiting for that for Kuminga. I've been waiting for that all year. And so it was a joy to see that. So shout out to Jonathan Kuminga for stepping up in the beginning and establishing himself on the defensive end, because now he's going to have a breakthrough offensive game. Mark my words. And you guys haven't been playing. It hasn't been a high-scoring series.
Facts. I think we still got a breakout game for sure.
And just talking about everybody stepping up, Jimmy Butler's still questionable for Game 4. I don't know if he's going to try and play, but if he does, there's a chance. If he plays, you're looking to go up 3-1. Going into Game 4, what do you have to improve on for the rest of the series? And then especially if Jimmy is out, what are the things you guys have to do to better your chances to close the series out?
I have to improve personally. I got to stop turning the goddamn ball.
I agree.
That is my self-improvement. Us as a team, I think we cleaned up that end tonight. We only had 10 turnovers as a team. I think we improved offensive rebound-wise. And saying that they still have 15, let's get that to 11. So let's get that to 11 or 12. So I think, and then some of those be like 2 or 3 offensive rebounds on the same possession. So sometimes the numbers can look a little more skewed than it actually is. But overall, I thought we did a great job on the defensive boards. But I think the one thing that I would like to see us improve up on as a team is just continue to improve our game plan discipline. We have a very young team. It's a lot of guys' first time in the playoffs, first time in this situation. And so as you continue to get more and more experience under your belt in the playoffs, you hope to see guys continue to take those steps. And what I will say through 3 games, 4 if you come to play in, I've seen guys taking those steps, but we all know we can be better. And so I'd just like to see us continue to improve up on our game plan, discipline, just as a team overall.
I truly believe when the shot clock is running down, when the ball is in the non-score, meaning the 3, the 4, or the 5 scores on the team, y'all got active. And when I mean getting active, you shut down the next pass. So a lot of those one-on-one opportunities wind up in the hands of a Dillon Brooks, right? Trying to make plays, trying to make plays. And I think that was really balanced and a focused defense. When you know, like, oh, Dillon Brooks got the ball, it's 8 seconds, make him make the play. But at the same time, I also think that when you guys do that and you see people like Dillon Brooks or Thompson, you got to be aware that they will miss shots. And that's how them offensive rebounds happen, because you start looking at the shot, looking at the miss, and then that's how they attack. But it was great defense at the end of the game, because you start allowing the ball on the defensive side to go to the weaker offensive scorer, and that's why I think you guys were successful tonight.
No, yeah, that was huge for sure. And I wouldn't necessarily say that was game plan. It's just kind of you filling the game out as you're out there. I think anytime you can take first couple options away, make teams do what they don't necessarily want to do, is always going to be good. So, yeah, man, shout out to our defense. Again, my guy, Jerry Stackhouse. He has a certain mentality that he brings to the defense, and we just try to follow that. What's up, our fans? We got some great news. We're thrilled to announce that the new show merchandise is available. The site is now live, so you can check it out and grab your favorites. Go to the dgbdshow.com. That's the dgbdshow.com.
If you're watching on YouTube, there's a QR code on the screen that you can scan. You can click the link in the YouTube description. For all the listeners, head to Draymond Show on TikTok, IG, X, Facebook, and hit the website link in the bio to access the merch store. We finally get some merch for the show, baby. We get the fans be able to rock the merch, rock the show, tap in with us.
I think these should be the shirts on the seats at the game.
Come on, let's do it. We need that.
Game 4, we need that Monday.
Come on, man.
Let's do it.
I'll be at the game. We can get that cracking.
We're excited to have all y'all represent the show. So go to the dgbdshow.com and get the new merch. Let's take it around the league a little bit. Man, I didn't get an opportunity to see it, obviously, live, but I saw it on video.
I was at that game.
You was there. Clippers.
I was at that game.
Tough call. I don't know how to judge it. I think for me personally, I've never seen a game winner like that. You were there. Have you ever seen an ending like that in the playoffs?
No, that was wild, dude.
What was your thought being there?
My thought was it should go to overtime because hand was on top of the ball. But when you look at the play, his hand was not on the ball when the red light hit.
And it's in the cylinder.
And it was in the cylinder. So it was like, damn, how do you, to me, shout out to the refs on those because that's a big call to make.
It is a huge call. It changes. It could change the outlook of the series.
The entire series.
Which could change the entire playoffs. Like, it's a huge call to make in that moment.
But like I said, the Clippers shouldn't have put themselves in that situation, especially when you're at home, you have the advantage. And I think when they put, when they picked up the pressure on defense, when they were down to get back in the game, that's the same type of pressure that they needed the entire game. So I think that they were going through lows. And then at the end of the game, like we all know, it's not always the game winning shot. It's always the tip in. And that goes back to way back into the day where Houston lost in the Final Four, Akeem Olajuwon, to the great Jimmy Valvano with basically an air ball putback.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a heartbreaker because as a coach, as a player, the shot was off. It's a controversial call, but you shouldn't have been in that situation. And it was just devastating. I mean, the whole Clipper Arena was rocking, and Denver got away with one.
They did. Shout out to Lorenzo Charles, by the way, getting that putback for NC State back in the day. When I look at that series now, I'd say that's 2 games that the Clippers have let get away. I'm not sure if you can win a series against a really good team giving 2 games away.
With that type of margin of error, yeah, no, I agree.
Now, in saying that, the Clippers have obviously the system, but Kawhi Leonard, who is just playing at an elite level, and which will always give them a chance. They got Ronnie Lou on the bench, which always gives them a chance, but it's just hard to beat. It's hard to beat a team 4 times. To essentially beat them 1 for sure, come back tonight and have a real chance at winning that game and not coming up with those 2, I think those 2 could possibly cost you later. But in saying that, who do you have taking that? I just think like that can get tough, man. That can get hard. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, very much so. You've let 2 games slip away. You had those games in your clutches, but I still think the Clippers are the more talented team. Yeah. What I did see from Denver is, you just got to keep going at Joker. You got to keep wearing Joker down. He's doing everything out there. I was on the Denver side of the court, so I got a chance to see, how the bench, the conversations in the huddle, and a lot is being asked of Joker to do a lot of the thinking, a lot of co-coaching, a lot of playing and coaching, talking to teammates. He has a lot of responsibility. And then him not having Russ out there, you don't have another vocal person.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of non-vocal players. It's just hard to communicate and to get energy and motivation when guys are not like really dialed in. And I think the Clippers, they unlock Norman Powell. Zubac has been playing great. We talked about that. But the unlock of Norman Powell, I think, is going to be huge. And then now it's going to be a Bogdanovich or a Batum or a Dunn. Somebody from the Clippers now has to step up and be, that fifth. They need a fifth, sixth person that they can rely on now to close out this series. That's going to make big plays for them. They need some big plays from Derrick Jones. They need some big plays from Dunn. They need some big plays from Batum. They need those guys to make winning plays over these next 3 games.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
But they can win in Denver. They've shown
that. Actually, they've shown that actually twice.
Yeah. Twice, right. So I'm not worried about them going back to Denver. Yeah, they let a couple get away. There are 4 2-1 series. The first is Knicks Pistons. My Knicks tape. Let's go. They up 2-1 on Detroit. Every game has been a slugfest back and forth. Jalen Brunson has shown why he's clutch player of the year. I predicted that this series was going to go Knicks in 6. How you feeling about your Detroit Pistons still?
I think they, too, have given games away. They gave game 1 away. Game 3 was bizarre. Nonetheless, this is what I expected. I expected the Pistons to have a chance to win this series, and they are showing that. And that's also with Isaiah Stewart being out. He's missed the last 2 games, and I thought he'd be a vital part of this series, and they're still showing Paul Reed has stepped up huge. They're still playing really good basketball. So I'm not sure. I didn't see what it was that's been keeping Stewie out. I'm not sure if he'll still be out. But if they get him back, I'm telling you, man, watch out, Knicks. If they get Stewart back, because that's just another body they could throw at Cat. That's another enforcer. This series been a little testy. You get your enforcer out there, not another enforcer, your enforcer out there.
Game 4 is always harder for the home team.
It is.
Game 4 is always tougher for the home team.
I think the Knicks going to struggle with this one.
Yeah, and I don't think the Knicks have been in that situation where they've had that margin for error, right? You look at the Clippers and you say, damn, the Clippers let Denver get 2, but they still got Kawhi. They still got James. They still got, super elite veteran experience that have played back to the wall.
That's a fact.
I want to see Detroit, and I know they're going to come out fighting. I know they're going to play that type of basketball, but game 4 is all about will, intellect, right? And small margin for error, especially when you're the home team.
This is true, but these Pistons ain't got nothing to lose, man. They playing with the church's money, with the house money. These Pistons, man, watch out, because they coming for blood.
Hey, man, the Pistons was one of my teams. They was one of my teams in the East. I just think that they're going to the Knicks on a mission. The Knicks on a mission to prove something. The first thing they got to prove is, hey, we getting out this first round again so we can go to the conference semis.
This is true. The Bucks bounced back. They're down 2-1 after winning game 3. Gary Trent stepped up huge. He was put in the start lineup, scored 36. Give Doc his credit, BD.
I have to.
That's an adjustment, and that man came through with 9 threes. I think this series will end up tied up 2-2, headed back to Indiana for game 5. And what I will say is, if this series gets to 2-2, I got the Bucks taking this series.
Ooh, tough. Great adjustment, Doc Rivers. Great adjustment, needed adjustment. Game 4 is pivotal. I just still think Indiana is not afraid of the Bucks. Indiana feels like they can beat the Bucks down the stretch. And it took 36 points in a 9-3 performance from Gary Trent Jr. Shout out to my dog. He came in, he rocked out, but you're asking for that. Where did that come from? And why didn't we get any type of combination of those 36 points in their two losses? So,
well, I'll tell you why. Role players play better at home.
They do.
Role players play better at home.
They absolutely do.
Which is why I say if this series ends up 2-2, the Bucks going to take it because they're going to go back on the road and Dame going to find his stride. Giannis going to be Giannis. Dame going to find his stride. Brook Lopez is a champion. He been there before. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Portis is a champion. He been there before. I think if they get this series to 2-2, they go into game 5 like, oh, we got them. And they going to feel that. So I'm telling you, if they get this to 2-2, watch out. Bucks in 6. Bucks winning 4 in a row. They get this to 2-2. Watch out. Championship pedigree means something. Now, Indiana does have some championship pedigree over there in Pascal Siakam, but they don't have multiple. And I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, I think the difference is Rick Carlisle is going to make the adjustment heading into game 4. It's going to be a battle of adjustments, game 4. And I think it's going to come down to Doc versus Rick Carlisle.
Respect.
Game 4.
Let's get
Who make those adjustments? Who tweaks the lineup? You know, somebody is going to be sitting down the stretch while somebody is cooking. We don't know who it is, but it's going to be up to, you know, one of these coaches to make that move. Next up, the Celtics 2-1 on the Magic. Coach Mazzulla, when Porzingis started leaking, he said, I like watching him bleed. This series is very physical, and the only way that the Orlando Magic can stay in this series is to be physical. What are your thoughts?
That's a fact. They don't have the talent that the Boston Celtics have, so they got to jump the game up. They got to be physical. That's the only way they can compete, and they're doing it. I think they're doing a great job of it. More physical than one would like, I'm sure, but, you know, that's the nature of it. Got to stand up to that and go through it. So they are playing that physical. Was happy to see JT's back. But, yeah, it's a very physical series. I think they're doing what they got to do. So they're executing their game plan, what they need to execute. You got to give them their credit.
Yeah, they got to be scrappy. That's it. They got to be scrappy, keep the score close, and hope that Paolo can be that person for you in the playoffs that can make magical moments. No pun intended. But I do like Coach Mazzulla. Yeah, he told Jayson Tatum,
get up,
man, get up, right? He talking about, I like watching him bleed. Just that DNA, that fabric, just a coach speaking to that. And when you watch Boston, they tough, they resilient. They don't bend or break. You know, they
feed
don't
off
fold.
of his energy.
Right, they feed off of that, and they all got this chip on their shoulder.
No,
they still play with that chip. Yeah,
they do. And you have to if you want to be one of them teams that pop up every year. You know what I'm saying? To be in the running every year. And they doing that. You got to give them their credit, but they definitely feed off Joe's energy for sure.
Yeah.
T-Wolves are leading the series 2-1. Luka was sick in game 3, they said, and Jaden McDaniels stepped up with 30 points. Ant and Bron both did what you expect Ant and Bron to do. Looking forward to seeing a healthier Luka in game 4. I think the Lakers, you know, they can go on the road and win the game. They got Luka Doncic and LeBron James. Yeah. I think they have to figure that small lineup out. When they take Rudy Gobert out, you know, a lot of the Lakers' game plan seems to be built on picking on Rudy Gobert. When they take him out, I think he played 24, 25 minutes last game. When they take him out and they go to Naz Reid at the 5, the Lakers has seemed to struggle with that lineup in the series. Game 2, they got away because Naz Reid was in foul trouble, and so they didn't have to deal with that lineup. And so I think the key to the Lakers figuring this this team out is seeing if they can figure that lineup out, because that's the lineup that's been beating them. And so it'll be good to see. It'll be fun to watch and see what adjustments J.J. Redick makes. It's his first playoff series. See what adjustments he make to deal with that lineup.
Yeah, I would say one thing I noticed about J.J. Redick, and a lot of young coaches when they come into the league early, you can tell what type of coach that they will be based on game-to-game preparation. And J.J. Redick is one of those coaches. So being down 2-1, he's going to watch a lot of tape. He's going to watch where the mistakes are happening. Similar to Spoelstra, when Spoelstra was young coming up, he was great at making the adjustment from game 1 to game 2. Oh, we lost game 1. Oh, game 2, we're not going to lose because we've corrected all our mistakes. And a lot of times coaches do better in film and preparation for the next day. And it's tough making adjustments, especially when you're a rookie coach, especially when it's your first time. So I look for the Lakers and JJ to be able to clean some things up. And he's a coach that makes game-to-game adjustments, right? Yeah. And you have coaches, like Steve Kerr, right, that has that experience that make in-game adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll work his way up to that, but for now, the Lakers will be prepared for game 4 for the Rudy Gobert matchup. When Rudy Gobert goes out, how to handle Julius Randle, put more pressure on him, and stop Minnesota from getting to the front of the rim. I think that's the Lakers' problem. Like, they not forcing Minnesota to be a jump shooting team and prove that if y'all gonna shoot all these threes or shoot jumpers, they letting them get to the bucket too and to the front of the rim. And the Lakers have no shot blockers down there that that's stopping the Timberwolves, especially Jay McDaniels. He having his way.
I was just about to say, do they have the personnel to stop them at the rim though? Because that team athletic is and long. Like, they got great length. They're athletic. So do the Lakers have the answer to stop them from getting to the rim though and finishing at the rim? Because that's one of their strengths.
The Lakers have good individual defenders or hustle defenders. They don't have good weak side defenders.
Okay. Bron is great, but with the exception of Bron.
Yeah, Bron is great, but Bron is at a place in time in his career where he can't cover. He knows if he has to cover everything on the defensive end.
You think you can't get to 38 or 36 or 38 or whatever?
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. And when you look at Vanderbilt, he's a good defender, right? But he's not a good help defender. Hachimura is not a good help defender. Then you have a weaker defender in Luka, which requires a lot of help defense, right? Because people are attacking Luka. So, like for the Warriors, Looney, great help, weak side defender, get back to your man, box out. Draymond Green, great weak side help defender, right? Great on-ball defender. The Lakers can defend you and put pressure on the ball, but they can't stop you from getting to the rim.
We shall see. So who you got winning that series?
I still got the Lakers. I just think, LeBron and Luka, they still got a half to figure out. And if they click, then I think Minnesota's in trouble.
They click is tough for anybody.
Yeah. Especially in this series.
It's tough for anybody.
Minnesota. Yeah.
It's tough for anybody. Them two click.
All right. Last topic. I want to send a huge congratulations to my dog, Draymond Green, for winning the NBA Hustle Player Award. The award honors a player who makes the effort plays that go unnoticed in the box score, but significantly contributes to the team's success. This award, to me, embodies a lot of what you've done this year, how you've been available, accessible, a linchpin in this defense. What does it mean to you to get the award? And congratulations again, my dog. Well
Thank
deserved.
you, brother. I appreciate it. I mean a lot. I think anytime you can be recognized in this league, it's special. You know what I'm saying? So obviously I was still a little in my feelings about the defensive player of the year when I found out about this. So I ain't repost nobody all day or anything. I was like, I'm waiting. Then at the end of the night, I made sure I reposted everybody. But very appreciative. So to explain to people what this award is, because I didn't really understand either, it's a calculation. So this award is a calculation of like steals, blocks, deflections, screen setting, getting your teammates open, weak side help. Like it's a calculation of different things. And after the calculation, I was the winner. So I'm very thankful. So it is the one award in the NBA that has a formula, that has a criteria. But no, like I said, anytime that you can be recognized in this league, it's the greatest players in the world in this league. Anytime to be recognized, I'm thankful. So thank you to the calculation. So
it's not opinion based. It's actually fact and statistic based. So
yes, it is.
That's even better.
Yes, it is.
Better, bro.
So I was oh, this is fire.
Posting people, man. Posting people.
No, I reposted everybody though.
Man, let's run that up. Let's run that up today, everybody. Repost it again. Man. Repost also more.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all. I'm always thankful to be a part of this league. I don't take it for granted one bit. It's the best league in the world. And to still be a part of it after 13 years and still playing at a high level, I'm forever grateful, forever thankful, forever grateful to this organization for who took the chance on me 13 years ago when I was labeled a tweener and I was a death sentence. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to all of you. We love y'all. Thank you. Until next time. That's a wrap from this episode of the Draymond Green Show with the legend himself, Baron Davis.
Way out.
Peace.